1933, a fire broke out in the Reichstag Parliament in Germany. Hitler declared that this was a terrorist attack by the communists and used the media to spread fear and panic. He then passed the Reichstag Decree, which was an anti-terror law that stated, "It is permissible to restrict the rights of personal freedom." This removed the people's rights to a fair trial and free speech. In 1938, the J stamp on an ID card was used to identify Jewish shops. And on Kristallnacht, their windows were smashed and the Holocaust began. As no one could protest, Hitler was able to build the world's most brutal totalitarian state. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland, and Britain and France declared war. A generation was devastated, in the hope that future generations might live without tyranny. In 1945, the Allies declared victory and said never again. To protect the world from war, they had to protect the citizen from the state. If Hitler had not taken the liberties from the German people, they might have stopped Hitler taking Germany to war. In November 1950, the leaders of the war-torn countries of Europe came together to try to prevent these horrors ever happening again. The European Convention on Human Rights was authored by Winston Churchill and contained the fundamental protections of an individual from their own government. These would remain intact in Britain for the next 50 years.
And Wayne, we know you were also covering that press conference that took place today in Galveston with Governor Rick Perry. Could you give us some perspective as to what was going on in that press conference as you lead us into that soundbite with him?
Actually, we covered the press conference in Galveston, and I actually was in Ellington Field when the governor stopped there, and I specifically drove down from Houston after coming back from Galveston early this morning to ask the governor the question and sort of put him on the spot, if you will, because we have been trying ever since the storm to get somebody to take some responsibility for who is in charge and who has decided that the public does not have the right to see the devastation in essentially our hometown. The folks in Bolivar, folks who live there, who left, who worried about friends and family and their businesses, have a right to see it. And here's some of my exchange with the governor. Governor, the lack of media access and information from Bolivar and the West End is unprecedented. We've covered many storms. We were in Mississippi and Louisiana the very next day. What's the situation in Bolivar? How many fatalities are there? And why hasn't the media been allowed, because it's our job to be independent of government,
right,
have been allowed to be in Bolivar, be in West End, to show people what is going on with their homes?
Well, Wayne, I don't know where you've been, but we just got back from Galveston, and there was a huge room of media there. Looked to me like
Governor, for the last 3 days, and I'm not talking about Galveston. I'm talking about the Bolivar Peninsula and West End, where we have been denied access.
Right.
We have been denied permission to be there, even in helicopters, and that is unprecedented and, quite honestly, not appropriate, because it's our job to inform people. So
right,
why can't we go to Bolivar, and why can't we go to West End? And why
I think the local officials, when the local officials decide that it is appropriate for people, whether it's the media or whether it's first responders or what have you, but the fact of the matter is that's actually a local decision, Wayne, that's made by the local county judge and by the mayor of those municipalities.
They don't control the airspace, Governor. No offense, but they don't control the airspace.
Last time I checked, the state of Texas doesn't either. That's a federal responsibility.
So it's the federal government that's denying our.
I don't know. You're delving into some questions and issues that. But I know one thing: I don't control federal airspace.